Hello from the farm. Our peas are coming along wonderfully. We've been eating them off the vine for a couple of days. They never do make it into a pot. We also have potatoes going wild. This was a potato bed last year, and they've come back on their own this year, and I'm going to let them do that. And the piece de resistance is my artichoke plant, and it's got 4 plants going now. I subdivided it earlier this year. I have lots of artichokes on it. We should be having artichokes by next week, I would say. This is the plant that I divided, and it's doing quite well. I put a root and part of a plant in here, and the root took off, and the part of the plant, I got to do some neem oil on it. It looks like it's getting eaten up. We don't want to lose it. The pole beans are coming along real well. We've got potatoes in this bed also, because there were potato towers in here last year, and the baby potatoes stayed behind. These are nasturtiums. They're very compatible with all that's growing in this bed. These are garlic and red onions, and the garlic's getting ready to harvest. This is a thornless blackberry that came back. I used to have them growing on this fence, and the new neighbors next door poisoned everything. This came back, and I'm not going to let it grow on the fence. I don't want to disrupt the neighbors, nor do I want to lose my thornless blackberries again. These are some new raspberries that Denise purchased at the Portland Nursery earlier this year. I planted them. We're going to have a few berries off of that plant. I've also got a bunch of wild raspberries going along the fence here, and I'm trying to incorporate them into this wire fencing and get them off the fence. It's going to take a while. They're coming along. This is the 5-in-1 apple tree, and it's got 4 apples on the yellow delicious limb, and there is one big honkin' apple. Let's see here, here it is. This little guy right here is the only one that's on this limb, and this is a summer red apple. So we'll get 5 apples off this tree this year. I've got this little branch tied up because it was lowest on the tree trunk when they grafted it on, and it got so big it's too heavy for its graft. So I'm tying it up. The rhubarb's coming along. I've been giving it away because I'm not ready for it yet. Also, this is horseradish. This is what you use in your dill pickles to keep them crunchy instead of using chemicals like most pickle companies use. These are slicing cucumbers. I have 4 of them in here, and I also have some garlic. That's the dead stuff laying in there. I don't know if it'll come back or not. We'll have to wait and see. This is one of my 2 strawberry beds. Razzie just had her head in here picking berries, so I would imagine there's a few I can see I can come out and get in a little while. We have some fennel over here in this fallow bed. I just got some leeks growing, and they're getting ready to flower, and the fennel is doing very well. As you can see, the herb bed is growing and the flowers are starting to bloom. We have poppies and sweet williams along here. I also have a sweet pepper, which is growing quite nicely, but this is also a sweet pepper. Eggplant. The herbs are just doing very well. Back up a little bit and see if we can't get all of it in. The garden looks great, and there's bees in there. The neighbors have 2 beehives, so I think we have our bees under control for a while. And the pear tree. The pears are very big already. I'm impressed. This is a pear. It's probably as big as my thumb. I don't have tiny hands. Apples are the same way. Look at them. They're doing great. We've got lots of little apples. They're the size of quarters. Yeah, they're about the size of a quarter. They're not quite as big as my thumb, but we have a lot of apples. I want to make some applesauce and some apple juice and some apple cobbler. The lettuce in the salad bar is doing well. I came through and took a lot of it out this morning and took it over and planted it in the chicken yard for the chickens. I'm sure they've decimated it by now. Sporty's garden is getting way bigger than he is. There's some baby bok choy and some kale and some Japanese stuff that I can never remember the name of. It's all edible. The hops are doing very well. They're just climbing all over that structure. The kiwi plant is acclimatizing itself, I'm not saying that word right, to where it is. And it's growing nicely. Seems to be happy. We have 3 distinct trunks going on it. And it's supposed to climb up this patio cover and fill it with kiwis. We'll see. The strawberry pyramid has really filled in, and it's starting to send out runners, which is those are the babies for next year, and it's still producing strawberries. Our first row of corn and beans is up. The second row of corn and beans, the corn is up and the beans should follow shortly. This is a zucchini squash right here. It's tripled in size since I planted it. That is spaghetti squash, and it's turning a little yellow, and I'm not sure. We bought this in a grocery store. It was the only place we could find any, so we took it from a grocery store. I'm not thrilled with the plant, but it's looking okay on the top leaves. This is a big beefsteak tomato. It's not doing good. We bought 2 of these, and neither one of them looks very good. They're looking yellow and yucky. I'm keeping an eye on them, and I put soil sweet in when I planted them. I'm going to add some fertilizer. They've been in the ground a couple of weeks. I wanted to give them time to get comfortable before I started fertilizing them. This is, what is this? I can't read it. It's too little. It's a happy tomato. Over here, we have our squash bed, zucchini and crookneck squash, and we also have sunflowers. I planted sunflowers intermittently along here, and they're all coming up. And they'll be the back side of the bed so that they won't shade anything out. These are lemon cucumbers. If you've never had a lemon cucumber, make it an effort to try to find one this summer. They are marvelous. Green cucumbers pale when you can have a yellow cucumber, a lemon cucumber. They're really, really good. These are my little melon plants, and those 2 are doing great, and these 2 aren't doing so well. So we'll see what happens with these guys. This is the Brussels sprouts we started last fall that went to seed that I've cut back. I'm saving the leaves for the girls. Although they've gotten so picky now that they've got their own yard, they hardly eat anything I give them. More sunflowers, and these sunflowers are rocking. They're going to be real big. Tomato, squash, tomato, squash, tomato, squash. More sunflowers, and I planted 3 or 4 kinds of sunflowers right here. They should be pretty. This is an eggplant, and the same pattern, tomato, squash, and there's a pepper all the way down on the end. And eventually it'll be so big we'll barely be able to walk down this path. So that's this side of the yard. And I think I covered everything. Hey,